How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Figuring It Out Finance podcast, where I, Chris Rickenbaugh, am your host, and I am documenting my journey in real estate and business while also talking about travel, hacking, and personal finance. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, where you can find me at Figuring It Out Finance, and go check out the podcast. You can get the links to that on the website figuringitoutfinance.com, where you can stay up to date with all the podcast releases and everything that I'm doing. So, today's podcast. It has been a busy and pretty stressful last 2 weeks here. As soon as we got flip number 3 under contract, it was, all right, how do we find the money? So I was working with a company that uses credit stacking. So basically what they do is they help you open a bunch of 0 APR credit cards, and then they charge you a fee or a 10% fee up to $5,000 on the amount that you get credit for. So we've been doing that for about the last month and a half to 2 months, and we thought it was going to come in handy and be able to help pay for the current flip that I have going on, which I'll need $40,000 to close the rest of to get through the rest of that project because it's all on a credit card right now. So all we need to do is be able to pretty much just finish the project and just pay off the card, because the hard money company only funded 75% of the project. So I'm still finding the rest of that 25%. So we thought by this time it would have been over a month to where we would have had that credit line, because this company, when they talk to you, they're like, oh yeah, you can get up to $150,000. And the guy talking, he said, oh yeah, we should be able to get about $100,000 for you. I'm like, perfect. So that's 40. And then I would have had the 60 to be able to close on flip number 3. So that did not go as planned. So I only got approved for one card up to $2,500. So I was pretty unhappy with that company, but it's forced me to get really creative and branch out. So now what I'm doing to be able to try and close on that, we had to push closing back an entire week. So instead of closing on September 30th, we pushed it back, or on that Monday of today, and then we pushed it back to Friday. So basically an entire week. We think they're a little bit flexible, but I just hated having to push it back a week because it's just going to be a quick 2-week project. So what I'm doing now, and what I've been doing for about the past week or two now, is working with different brokers, being able to try and put together the funding to be able to close on this, and targeting gap lending specifically. So working with the different brokers, trying to find different companies. We thought we had 2 or 3 people that were able to do it, and they were companies, and the broker didn't like it because they were charging a fee up front. The first one was going to be about $3,800 up front, along with the broker fee of $1,800. So that's a good chunk of cash that I'm like, no, I don't think we're going to do that. And then he even said, if the companies that charge that up front probably aren't the companies you want to work with. They're maybe not scams, but we can't really trust them. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's move on. So we find another one, and we're like, hey, we can fund it by Monday. Just make this quick payment of $700. So, I said, okay, at least it's a small payment. And then they said, well, you can send it Cash App or Venmo. And then I text the guy back and I said, hey, is it normal to be making these like upfront payments with this through Cash App and Venmo? And he's like, well, let me ask my coach. And he goes, no, let's not do it. So that was number 2. So now we're on number 3 and number 4 with that guy. So hopefully we're able to close on one. We've sent in everything. There's no upfront fees. We're pre-approved for the application for the $60,000. So now it's just going through these last steps here of, all right, how's it going to be transferred into my account? Are we going to have to JV and hold it with a closing attorney? And then I get the rest of it. So there's still some details to be worked out there. We got really, really good terms with it. So I'd be super excited to be able to use that $60,000. And then I'm working with a gap lender who's one of my partners has used in the past that would be able to come through. So I got that information filled out last night and sent it over so we can get that process started and hopefully fund by Friday. So lots and lots going on. Ideally, I would like to be able to close with the gap lender that we already know and then use the $60,000 if it's just going to be deposited into my account to be able to pay for my current flip that's going on where I need to find the extra 25%. So that's going to help me move forward. That's going to help pay off the cards because right now with Amex, I have a huge balance on there and they're not letting me spend any more on those 2 cards. So I do have a couple other business cards I can use. So that's not going to be a problem. It's just annoying to have to deal with because I thought at that time, the hard money company is holding back funds because they want that 75% to last the entire project. The problem is we've used about 95% of the funds or 90 to 95% of the funds, and now we're just not getting that back from them. So it's holding us back and it's creating a high balance on the cards, which creates a little bit of a problem. And it's not a huge problem because once the house is paid off, the cards are going to get paid off. So just having to take a little bit of that interest hit, it's just annoying rather than, it's just pretty much annoying to have to deal with because I thought that balance was going to be paid off. We were going to be able to fund the rest of the project and that would have kept good standing with the credit company. But since we had to have that balance and have the interest hit, it's holding us back from being able to go and complete the rest of the project. So just super annoying there. But with what I am doing today, we're still looking out at that 56 property portfolio. How do we get funds to be able to close on some of these houses, to be able to start moving forward on some of the projects? So that's what today and what I did. And tomorrow, I'm going to be going out to banks and looking for either small SBA loans or business lines of credit that we're going to be able to use as down payments on the house. Because that's something that's coming up when I'm looking at subject to opportunities. There's going to need cash because most of the time they're working with a realtor, and the way to get the realtor out of the way is say, hey, we will pay your commission fee if you let us go directly to the seller and present this opportunity. So we have 2 of those right now, and we're going to need about $10,000 to close on each one. And the first one, it's about $8,500. And then the seller has a loan with the agent because he helped them paint. So if we're able to pay the guy's commission and then pay off that little loan that he has for the painting, I think we're going to be able to take this over with not having to pay the seller anything because we're buying it at $284 or $284 left on the loan, and we're buying the house at $300. So there's going to be that $16,000 difference to where I'm basically going to be paying that out of pocket. The seller's going to have to come out of pocket a good $15,000 to $16,000 on top of the loan he already owes. Let's just say it's $5,000. So we're going to need cash to be able to close on these, and just having it accessible through a bank or through a line of credit so we can close on these and then figure out how to pay it back through the flips, because it'll just give us time. So that's the idea. So right now we're just so strapped for cash because we have all of our money out in these different opportunities to where we're not able to move on anything. So as soon as we get it under contract, then we got to go find it. And then that holds us up on anything else. And we've had some really good opportunities sent our way. And then we have the portfolio sitting right there that we can't wait around on. So that's why I'm going out to the banks and saying, all right, what can we do here? What's the best route to go? Is it a construction loan for $100,000? Is it a line of credit for $100,000? We'll basically take anything because even a little bit of money is going to be able to help us go a long way. It's just the access to capital that we're needing. Because say if we get $50,000, that might not be enough to close with the higher prices in the area. But what we could do is we could do a novation agreement to where we're going to be renovating the property we're going to be able to buy it, but we're going to be basically teaming up with the seller. We're going to be renovating the property, which renovations will probably be $30,000 to $50,000, I'm guessing, on each home. And then we're going to be able to sell it, and the seller will get paid at the end. So that's going to be a win-win for both of us because we don't have to come out of pocket, $60,000 to $70,000 to be able to just close on this house. We're only going to be able to spend $30,000 to $50,000. We're going to be able to do 2 to 3 times as much with that cash in that line of credit. So that's the goal from being able to go out to the banks like I'm about to go. So I will keep everyone up to date on that. But that is just some of the struggles going on with flip number 3, how we're planning on overcoming them, and basically just what's going on. So that's all I got for today. So I will be back again on Wednesday for another episode. This is Chris Rickenbaugh signing off for the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. We'll see you on the next one.